Green Bay, Wisconsin, February 2022. A mother descends into her basement, expecting the mundane. Instead, she finds her son's severed head in a bucket. This isn't a horror movie. This is the true story about Taylor Schabusiness, a woman so detached from reality, she made dismemberment sound like a routine. Her words? I liked it. I sat there and watched him die. Tonight's episode is brutal, but not gratuitous, because somewhere beneath the headlines, the mugshots, and the courtroom chaos was a boy named Shad. Let's talk about obsession, what love becomes when it rots. Let's talk about Taylor. Welcome back to Glow in the Dark. If you're new here, I'm Destiny, part storyteller, part skeptic, and full-time collector of cursed facts. Whether you found me through crime, curses, or cold cases, welcome to the strange side of beauty. And I'll warn you now, this one cuts deep, not just in the crime scene tape and the body bags, but in heartbreak. Because this is about control, addiction, obsession, and the boy who didn't survive it. Okay, so before we get too far into this, let me just say a few things. Let's have a little chat. Okay, number one, if you hear thunder, there's a storm outside. And since I'm new at this, I don't quite know how to edit it out, but maybe it'll create some kind of ambiance. We'll have some little sound effects going on that are just natural. Who knows? But there's a storm going on. If I sound weird, I am getting over this cold that my lovely little demons, those are my kids, my little demons, they brought something home. I don't know what it is, but they brought it and they gave it to me, a little gift. Yeah, I'm trying to get over that, but it's, lingering. If you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about. They just bring things home and you just get it. Then you gotta suffer until it's gone. So forgive me for that. I'm so sorry. And let me not get distracted. Here goes my brain again. Oh, I am not going to be pronouncing any of these last names because they totally messed me up. I tried to say Taylor's last name and I was like, Didn't know if I did that right. I still don't know if I did that right. So moving forward, no more last names in this episode because they look a little bit different, a little difficult for me. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. But anyways, I hope you guys are loving the podcast. This is episode 3. And if you're still here, thank you so much. As always, I love the support and I truly appreciate it. Show everyone that's into true crime, paranormal, anything like that. Let's dive deep together and grow our little family, because we're going to call this our little family, or we can call it whatever. We'll figure it out later. But let's just grow it, because I think this is going to be really great. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. This is just one last little side note. If you're into books or audiobooks, psychological thrillers, things like that, look up Frida McFadden. I adore her. I just adore her. Love me some Frida McFadden. Look her up. You will not regret it. Also, awesome little show I found on Amazon TV called C. If you like Jason Momoa and you want to see some action and all that, very good movie. I know we're here for the podcast, but I gotta let you know, that's currently my life right now, is doing, there's the thunder. Yeah. Okay. That's currently my life right now. Momming, audiobooks, podcast, Jason Momoa on TV. So yeah, let's get it. Shad was 24 years old. He was quiet and soft-spoken. He loved fixing things, building things, and creating order out of chaos. He had a family who adored him. His mother, Tara, described him as sweet, silly, and always willing to help. He grew up in Green Bay. He played in the snow, and of course, he got into trouble, like most boys do, but he always came back to center. Shad struggled with addiction, meth, like Taylor, but he was trying to stay clean. He just started reestablishing trust with his mom. He was sleeping at her house again, trying to rebuild. And he was vulnerable, because love and loneliness, they don't cancel each other out. Sometimes they combine and cloud everything. Shad trusted Taylor, despite the red flags, despite his mom's concerns, and that trust led him to his death. Taylor wasn't a mystery. She was a visible spiral, collapsing in plain sight. She was born in 1998, diagnosed early with bipolar disorder, and later she was diagnosed with schizophrenia, PTSD, and borderline personality disorder. She self-medicated with meth, marijuana, and psychedelic mushrooms. Her marriage was toxic. Her husband was incarcerated, and she lost custody of her child. She cycled through hospitals, jail cells, and court-ordered rehabs. In 2020, she was committed into a psychiatric facility after attacking staff. In 2021, she was arrested for battery. The report said she had delusions, violent outbursts, and a disconnection from reality. And yet, she walked free. Because this wasn't a sudden break. This was a slow, drug-soaked descent into darkness. And nobody stopped her. And at the bottom of it all was Shad. February 22nd, 2022. Shad invites Taylor over to his mother's house. They go in the basement, they get high, and they have sex. Taylor pulls out a metal chain, not a necklace, a dog leash. She wraps it around Shad's neck, choking him from behind during sex. At first, maybe it was consensual, but she didn't stop. She tightened it. And when the police asked why she didn't let go, she said, "Because I was already this far. I wasn't going to stop." She told investigators that she blacked out. Then later, she admitted she didn't. That she watched him die. That she liked it. That she sat there and just watched. Then she started cutting. She used a bread knife and other kitchen knives, some dull, some serrated. She decapitated Shad, placed his head in a black bucket, stashed his torso in a storage tote, and his legs were stuffed into grocery bags. Some parts went in her van, others she couldn't even remember. "I was going to bring all the body parts with me, but I got lazy." Her words, not mine. Dismemberment was methodical, but transportation? Too much effort. I can't even believe that. I mean, you go with your boyfriend or whatever he is to you, and you go to his mom's house, you go in the basement, y'all do some stuff. You know, everybody has a kink. I don't know what you're into, but they do some stuff. And then you decapitate him. You used a butter knife. Number one, the amount of effort you would have to use for a butter knife. And I know there's other knives involved, other serrated knives and stuff like that, but holy moly, you used a butter knife. Oh no. And then, just because you liked it, and that you didn't take all the body parts with you because you got lazy? What? That's the part that always blew my mind. I remember hearing about this case, and just the sheer shock that his head was in a bucket was like, what? I'm sorry, what? In a bucket? But then the fact that you even said you got lazy, so you didn't take him all with you. Ambiance. See? That's what I'm talking about, guys. Ambiance. Okay. Ugh! Anyways, let's get back to this. I am just completely shocked. It's not even new to me, and I'm still shocked. How are you gonna say you got lazy? You used a butter knife. You can't get lazy after you use a butter knife. I'm sorry. The autopsy was performed by Dr. Vincent Trenchita. I probably ruined that. You know how I am with names. I'm so sorry if I ruined it. Anyways, the cause of death was clear: strangulation, ligature marks, hemorrhaging, and bruising around the neck. But what came after was methodical mutilation. Shad was decapitated, dismembered, and eviscerated. His organs were removed, not surgically, but in a way that suggested sustained effort and detachment. Dr. Trenchita testified that some internal organs were missing. Others had been placed in separate bags. It was grisly, but it wasn't chaotic. This wasn't an outburst. It was an unraveling. Shad's mother Tara hadn't seen him that morning, so she went to the basement. She saw blood, a bucket, and something red and heavy inside it. She thought it was part of a Halloween prop, and then she looked closer. It was her son's head. She collapsed, and then she ran up the stairs, calling 911, screaming. The Green Bay police arrived within minutes, and what they walked into wasn't just a murder scene. It was a dismemberment chamber. Blood was splattered across the mattress, the concrete floor, and up the walls. On the bed sat a blood-stained dog leash. On the floor, a bread knife with its handle slick and sticky. The bucket with Shad's head was placed near the bed. Not hidden, displayed. Beside it, a storage tote, sealed and shut with his torso inside. His genitalia had been saved and placed in another bucket. His legs were missing. Officers found meth pipes and burnt foil scattered near the bed. On the sink, another kitchen knife, wet with blood. The smell of bleach lingered, but it was only partially used. She started cleaning, and then she stopped. The lead detective called it the most gruesome scene I've ever entered. It looked more like a horror movie set than a home. Taylor's fingerprints were on the knife handles, and her DNA was under Shad's fingernails. And blood spatter suggested post-mortem movement, deliberate repositioning. They discovered she had borrowed a van from a friend the day before. Using that lead, plus cell phone data, officers traced her to an apartment on Eastman Avenue. She was found in another basement, the same floor where Shad had died. From one basement to another. She was still wearing the same blood-covered clothes, no attempt to shower, and no remorse in her voice. When asked about the head, she blinked, and then she smirked. Oops, I must have left that behind. Then she asked for her vape pen, and she asked if she could go back and grab her clothes, as if she overstayed her welcome, not orchestrated a dismemberment. The police interview lasted hours, and she never cried. She laughed, she joked, she stretched her arms behind her head like she was recounting a party, not a killing. I was kinda hoping all the body parts would be in the van, so I wouldn't have to answer these questions. When she asked why she killed him, because I liked it. I sat there and watched him die. I enjoyed choking him. When asked about sex after his death, she shrugged. Yeah, I guess so. She asked, do I get my clothes back after this? Can I get my vape? I can't believe I left the head behind. She never changed out of the clothes she wore while dismembering him. She wore them for hours. Some reports say she didn't even wash her hands. It was like pride. It was pride to her. She was almost bragging that she had done this because she clearly wasn't trying to hide it. She didn't clean up the scene. She started to, and then she stopped because she even said she got lazy. Like, what is wrong with people? I don't understand. I don't understand. She didn't try to hide any evidence. She didn't try to hide any evidence at all. She literally sat in it. And there was no remorse, no denial. Just a woman that owned that horror. And then seemed mildly amused. She was amused that everyone else was shocked. Taylor faced 3 formal charges: first-degree intentional homicide, mutilation of a corpse, and third-degree sexual assault. She pled not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. But her behavior in the courtroom told a very different story. She smirked, she whispered to herself, and she stared down the jurors. It wasn't madness on display, it was theater, and she knew her audience. During a routine hearing, she attacked her attorney, lunging at him from behind while cuffed, forcing deputies to pin her on the floor. And the footage went viral. The headlines exploded. Lady Dahmer of Green Bay. This isn't Netflix. This isn't camp horror. This is a boy's murder turned into content. Due to repeated outbursts and threats, Taylor was later placed in full restraints during court appearances, and at the sentencing, she wore a spit hood, a mesh covering used to prevent biting or spitting. She sat silent behind that mesh, her face veiled like a gothic echo of the crime itself. The court eventually had to conduct parts of the trial by video conference to protect staff. In July 2023, the jury found her guilty on all counts. No insanity defense, no escape. The judge sentenced her to life in prison without parole. He called it one of the most disturbing cases this courtroom has ever seen. So, what was it? Psychosis? Meth-induced mania? Or something darker? Taylor had a long documented history of mental illness. Bipolar disorder, PTSD, schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder. She'd been committed. She attacked medical staff. She claimed delusions and hallucinations. But on the night of the murder, forensic experts said that there was no signs of psychosis. Dr. Brooke Lundham, a court-appointed forensic psychologist, testified that Taylor was lucid, intentional, and fully aware of what she was doing. She wasn't out of control. She was in control. She packed the knives beforehand, and she told the police, "I liked it. I sat there and watched him die." She didn't panic. She didn't hesitate. She posed. Some killers conceal the crime. She curated it. Dr. Charles Ewing said, "Dismemberment after death is often about control, not madness, not delusion. It's about keeping power, even when the victim is gone." This wasn't a break from reality. It was the final expression of it. Some call her Lady Dahmer. But unlike Dahmer, Taylor didn't keep trophies. She kept talking. Shad's family was shattered. His mother, Tara, now lives with the memory of her son's head in a bucket. His father told reporters, "No one should die like that. No one should be found like that." Friends remember Shad as loyal and goofy, always trying to make people laugh, even when his own life was crumbling. The Green Bay community held vigils and lit candles, but even those moments were overshadowed by memes, videos of Taylor's courtroom outburst, comments calling her a queen of chaos. But let's be clear, this wasn't an aesthetic. It was a murder. And Shad deserves to be remembered not for how he died, but for who he was. You might think the case ended there. It didn't. Months after sentencing, Taylor attacked a prison nurse, triggering another competency hearing. She was again found fit to stand trial, but this time, her defense folded. Her attorney filed a no-merit brief, and Taylor withdrew her appeal altogether. The woman who once asked for her babe now understood she wasn't going anywhere. Not ever. The Taylor Schabusiness case is unforgettable, not because it's gory, but because it shows us what happens when control poisons connection, and love becomes the excuse for slow, brutal erasure. Tonight's ritual: we cut cords, not people. Get quiet, turn the lights down, and light a white candle, or black if you need something stronger. Sit with something sharp, a crystal, a pen, or even a key, but something that feels like release. Close your eyes and picture the person, the habit, the thought, whatever has you held in chains. Now, see those chains snap, like a wire being pulled too tight, and whisper, "This pain is not mine. This obsession does not own me. I am not yours to unravel." Because closure should be cathartic, not criminal. Because survival isn't pretty, but it's sacred. Next time, we leave true crime behind and step into the mirror. A room that warps your reflection, a girl who didn't recognize her own face, and a long history of haunted glass and identity possession, and something staring back. I hope you're ready for the mirror room. Until then, stay radiant, even in the dark.